Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Today we're going to be talking about Enneagram Type 6. You guys, the questioner, the concerned citizen, the babysitter, lots of different names for this type, the loyal / skeptic, the phobic, the counterphobic 6. We're going to be talking about you guys, but don't get nervous. Don't get anxious. We're all in this together and we are your friends. This is a place of positivity, happiness, enjoyment, and excitement and inspiration. And I'm here to help you and help your life better, help your relationships be better. Check out my website, tomlahue.com, where I do Enneagram coaching and marriage coaching. Got lots of classes coming up. On-demand classes, and there's live classes as well. Check those out if you're interested in learning more about Enneagram coaching. And what else? Also, lots of books on my website. So check out the store tab, and there's a free book there for you right now. So let's jump into this Type 6 chaos, shall we? Okay, so I'm looking at this book. It's The Enneagram Made Easy. It's a very simple book, a great introduction. It's where I started many years ago, and I thought, why not come back to this? Look, I've been highlighting and writing notes. Why not come back to this and just use this? Because sometimes the simple stuff is the best stuff. And there's a list in here of how to get along with me. And in this series, we're talking about how to get along with each of the Enneagram types. So if you're going back to see family for the holidays, or you're married to a Type 6, or you got an uncle that's a 6, or grandma's a 6, or whatever, what could you do to try to be more understanding, more compassionate, sort of what I call the short fix? How you, the enlightened one, can maybe interact in a way that's more positive and more understanding of other people's weird stuff. Okay, so you guys remember I'm a 7 wing 6, so that 6 is right there close. I get it. I understand it. And let's talk about what we can do to get along with those 6s in our lives that we love. Also, my mom, my mother-in-law, my daughter Olivia, lots of 6s going on. My brother Michael, lots of 6s. Okay. So what can you do? Well, the first thing that's listed on this is be direct and clear. So when you're in communication with a 6, be direct and clear. Or, I just kind of put mean what you say. Don't be too ambiguous, because when you start to leave out details or you start to make things blurry, 6s are going to start to get nervous. What are you trying to do? Why are you saying it like that? What do you mean by that? Why don't you just come right out and say what's on your mind? Because my mind might start to imagine the worst if you're not direct and clear. And I would rather not imagine the worst. So just tell me what you think, or tell me where you want me to sit, or tell me what you want me to bring. Don't leave it up to me. Oh, just bring anything. Just bring anything. We're having a big dinner together. Make it clear. Tell them, I want you to bring a salad. I want you to make the salad like this. Okay, now I know what to do. Now I know what's expected. Now I know I can't screw this up and get everybody mad at me. So make it clear, make it direct. But I think also, I would say also try to be positive. Try to be, not complaining and ordering, challenging. But I like that. Be clear and direct. Makes a lot of sense. Number 2, listen to me carefully. Listen to me carefully. Listen to the words I'm saying. Listen to the words I'm saying. Don't judge me for my anxiety. Work things through with me. So when 6s get anxious or nervous or spiraled in their thinking, sometimes they can be kind of fight or flight responses. The sin is fear, right? So fight, flight, fawn, freeze, all of these are kind of natural responses. But sometimes with 6s, you'll get that kind of like flight and then that reactive fight, that sort of counterphobic, well, I'm going to fight you on this. Sometimes they can look a little bit like 8s and even value that loyalty that 8s and, value something 6s and 8s maybe share in common. But work with the anxiety, work it out with me. 6s often need somebody to provide reassurance, to be stable and not get overreactive when a 6 is very reactive. 6s can get pretty reactive to their environment or to what's going on or what might potentially be going on, start projecting their fears out into the world. And they need somebody who's a partner who is stable, who doesn't get too reactive, that allows them to work through their concerns, listens to them and says, oh, Yeah, that could happen. Well, then what do you think we should do? Well, I think we should do it like this, and maybe we should get one of these, and I don't know about this, and what if we should just get tickets and escape? Okay, yeah, that's possible. I can see that. But, you know, is there anything we could do that maybe could preempt that? And I think just that slowing down yourself, slowing down and letting this person work through their fears, concerns without being judgmental or critical on them, saying, oh my gosh, you're blowing this way out of proportion. Why do you have to always do this? Why do you always have to be a negative Nancy and go to the worst case scenario? Don't get aggravated with them. Try to be understanding and compassionate and recognize you don't know what it's like to be a 6. You don't have that script running around in your head. It's got to be awful to constantly feel that anxiety. You know what it's like to feel afraid. You know what it's like to feel anxious. Can you imagine that all the time? Can you imagine what your brain would do? How quickly you would try to sort through things and work through scenarios so that you don't end up, in trouble or end up upsetting somebody or end up on the wrong side of things? That's a lot. That's a lot of pressure. And we want to be compassionate with that pressure that person is feeling and show up in a supportive, reassuring, compassionate way that doesn't try to rush to a solution, doesn't try to just minimize or diminish their problem. Oh, I think you're blowing this way out of proportion. That actually is willing to enter into the problem and just provide some assistance in helping them work through the problem. That's often all 6s need. 6s often just need support. They are great supporters when you need support. And they often sometimes really kind of need your support. Support is not the same thing as solving problems. You don't need to solve their problems. Don't worry about solving their problems. They've got the solution mind. Just be present with them in their problems. Give legitimacy to their thoughts and legitimacy to their fears and say, yeah, that makes sense. If we didn't pay our rent, we would probably get evicted. I can understand that. That makes a lot of sense. But we always pay our rent. So why are we worried about this? Well, we're not going to say that part out loud, but we just give reassurance and support. And sometimes people don't want your answers. They don't want your solutions. They just want some sympathy. They want to know they're not alone. They want some support. And sometimes the best answer you can give is, oh man, that really sucks. I'm sorry that's going on. Oh man, that's really hard. I'm really sorry that that's what they said to you. And a lot of times people just want validation. They just want their fears and concerns or their, criticisms. They want those things validated by a third person. They want somebody to come in who says, yeah, I see what you're saying. That makes sense. You're not crazy. That makes sense. I understand how you got there. And then maybe bring it back and say, well, what do you think we should do about this? And then leave it with them. Let them try to solve their own problem. They're not going to probably feel real content if you just come in like the Lone Ranger and solve all their problems for them, because those are your solutions. And your solutions might make sense to you, but you want to help them figure out what their solutions are. That means you're going to have to pause, slow down, not try to solve everything, and just remain attentive and supportive in this conversation. And not overreact when they're being hypercritical. Did you see what they said about Trump? Did you hear what they said? What do you think the news is telling us that? Do you think they're lying to us? Do you think they're being honest with us? What do you think? Does that make sense? Okay, when they get into that, over questioning everything, I can see where you're just like, I got to get away from this. Or, oh my gosh, this is, what happens is you start to feel the anxiety. They start to share the anxiety with you and you start feeling that. And that can be very uncomfortable for you. Especially if you're a 9. Think about that. 9s disintegrate to 6. And if you're a 9 and you have a 6 in your life, you may find it difficult to even be around them and not know why. Well, why is because they're pulling you down into your point of disintegration, and you don't want that. You don't want to feel that anxious, piglet, scared, worried. You don't like that. That's you at your worst. So you don't like to feel that. And so you might avoid, which is typical of 9s, to kind of just withdraw. Be like, I just can't be around that person. Well, what if you could be around them? What if you could put on a little mental hazmat suit and have some good boundaries where I can be around you and recognize you're having a problem? It doesn't have to be my problem. You're feeling anxiety. I don't have to feel anxiety. And I'm going to help you with your problem. Wow. You can see the ADHD. I can feel the ADHD today. I can feel it in me. All right. Okay. So maybe the 2 cups of coffee, it was a little too much. Work things through with me. With me. With me. I want to be your companion. I want you to work through it with me. Not ahead of me. Not lagging behind like, I don't even know what she's talking about in there. It's going to be fine. Work it out with me. Reassure me that everything is okay between us. I think that's interesting because I would have put reassure me that everything's okay. Everything's okay. Everything's okay. Everything's okay. And I think that you got to be careful about that because you could feel like you're minimizing and diminishing their potential problems, and then they'll just shut you down because you're not smart enough to know that this could really be a problem. But I like how it says that reassure me that everything is okay between us. Because let's say, I have this interaction with a 6 and they're talking to me and I just go, oh my gosh. And I walk away. Now what's going to go on in that 6's mind? Did I upset him? Is he mad at me? What do you think? Do you know why Tom walked away? Was he upset? I don't know. We were talking about politics. We were talking about religion. And then he just said, I don't know what. I think I need to turn against him. I think I need to turn against him because I think he's upset with me. And I think I need to turn everybody else in this room against him because he's upset. I know that's a little much, but you can see what happens, that flight, and then the fight response comes right after it sometimes. Like it's almost sometimes immediate, and you find yourself in a fight. It doesn't need to happen. It doesn't need to happen. So if you're a partner with a 6 or you got a 6 in your life, you might need to constantly reassure them everything's just all right between us. No, there's no problems. Everything. Now, if there are problems, then we got to talk about them. We got to work through them. But just giving that reassurance, you might find that 6 kind of following you. Are you okay? What's wrong? What's the matter? What's going on? Did I upset you? I'm trying to understand. I'm trying to read the tea leaves here. I'm trying to read your facial expressions. I'm trying to read your tone of voice. And that in itself could provoke problems. I'm fine. Will you leave me alone? That didn't make it better. That made it worse. Okay? I'm fine. Will you leave me alone? Oh my gosh. That's going to make it worse. You don't want to make it worse. You want to make it better. So what you do is say, yeah, I'm fine. I guess maybe I'm just kind of like locked up with some work stuff, but it's definitely not you. No, you're great. You're great. It's work. It's not you. You're great. That reassurance, like, oh, okay, that makes sense. He's upset because of all the stuff going on at work. Okay, that's good. I can live with that. I can work with that. Okay. So reassure us that everything's okay between us. Laugh and make jokes with me. Now, I have found that that's kind of true with 6's. Especially 6-wing 7s, right? Because they have that 7-wing that helps them deal with anxiety. Think about that. You have a 7-wing and a 5-wing, both of which help you deal with anxiety. 7-wing, lighten up, laugh about it. Hey, man, I'm your friend. Everything's good. And then you got that 5-wing of sort of like being detached, being objective, trying to, remain objective in solving your problems. Both of those wings are really good for helping you out as a 6. And this note here says, laugh with them. Because when you laugh with people, you're giving a reassurance that everything's fine. 7s, the kings of laughter, right? We are a fear type. One of the ways you could describe a 7 is whistling in the dark. We don't have anything to be afraid of. Look, everybody's laughing. Everybody's having a good time. Everybody's listening to music and talking. Nothing to be afraid of here, right? And it is a way of calming people's fears and letting them know there's no fight between us. Everything's okay. We're laughing together. We're playing together. We're having a good time together. And 7s can be really sharp and really funny, really witty, because they got that fast brain that's always working to solve problems. And, laughing and enjoying time together indicates that everything is fine. There's nothing wrong. There's no conflict that you need to prepare yourself for or brace yourself for. So laugh and play together, which is great advice for all of us. How come we don't all understand that? Laugh and play together. Gently push me forward to new experiences. Gently, keyword gently. Because, 6s, they're the kings and queens of tradition. I've always done it like this. This way makes sense. This way I understand. This way feels safe and secure. And gently push me into new experiences. 6s are the people that they go to the same doctor. they've gone to since they were kids. They go to the same mechanic that they've gone to since they were kids. They go to the same church that they've gone to since they were kids. I know not all of you guys are like that, but that is kind of the stereotype of 6'ness is like, I know I can trust that doctor. These other guys, I don't know so much about them, but I know old Dr. Baker, Dr. Carl, they are always, and so I think be supportive of that. If you feel like this is ridiculous that we have to drive all the way across town to go to this church when we got 5 churches right next to us, just recognize it's part of that 6 thing of like, I want to go where I know what's expected of me. I want to go where I understand the systems. I understand the way things work. I understand the reality, and I trust this leader. And that's all very hard for a 6 to reestablish all of that. That's real stuff. It's hard to reestablish all that trust. It takes years to build that trust. Okay, so be patient and compassionate with sometimes when your 6 is doing things that aren't the most efficient or don't seem to be, resisting change or resisting something new. Gently push, gently persuade without pushing on them. I think, okay. Try not to overreact to all of my overreacting. Great. I love it. That's perfect. Provide stability when the ground feels unstable. What is anxiety? It means everything feels unstable. It means like, I don't know what's coming next. I don't feel like I have solid ground to stand on. I feel like something could come at any moment. I don't know what's going to happen. What do you think we should do? And to provide stability, that often I see 6s attracted to 8s, 9s, and 1s because the 8s, 9s, and 1s tend to all, have a certain stability built into their systems, like hardwired into them. Like, I know what to do. I'm a gut type. It's not going to be a problem. I'm going to handle it, or I'm going to take care of this, or this is how we're going to fix it, or this isn't something we need to worry about. And that calm stability is very attractive, I think, to a 6 who could be very volatile and reactive. You say, I'm not volatile and reactive. You're doing it right now. Don't be volatile and reactive. Recognize that we're all friends here. We're all in this together. We're all on a team. I'm with you. I'm a 7-wing 6. I get it. We're all on a team together. Working to improve our lives, working to improve our marriages, working to improve our outlook, our spiritual life, all of these things together. Okay, so, I wrote down some other thoughts that are on this list. Before I get to that, let me just read this last little sentence it has about relationships, okay? It says, 6s at their best in a relationship are warm, playful, open, loyal, supportive, honest, fair, and reliable. Yeah, that's a great list. Who doesn't want that in a friend? Every 8 wants that as a friend. Every 1 wants that as a worker. Every 9 needs to be married to that, right? You take a 1 and a 6 together, you have the building block for a civilization. Seriously, you put a 1 married to a 6, you have the beginnings of a city. You can found a city around that. You could build a church out of that. Because you have this loyal, strong, dedicated, do the right thing, concerned couple that both agree that we need to be doing what needs to be done today. We need to be planning and making sure we're responsible and making sure we take care of our neighbors. This is a great personality to be. It's just, the problem is you have to deal with fear all the time, and that really sucks. It just sucks. That's just such a terrible thing. It's not even fair because it feels like it happens to you. It does. I know it feels like it happens to you. You might look at an 8 and say, lust, they need to stop that. Gluttony, they should stop that. 5s and their greed, that's not any way to live. You should stop that. But what you don't realize is a 6, you don't realize that sometimes you generate the fears by what you focus your attention on. You would say, no, I'm not making the fear up. It's happening to me. Well, I could say the same thing as a 7. The gluttony feels like it's happening to me. I can't help it that I want another guitar. I can't help it that I want to go on another vacation. I want to spend more money on crap I don't need. It feels like it's happening to me. But what you choose to dwell on and focus your attention on is your choice. You make decisions of what you're going to think about. Now, maybe you've never thought about it like that before, but it's obvious that if you think about things that are worrisome, problematic, and potentially dangerous, that you're going to feel anxious, worried, panicked, and like you need support. It makes 100% sense, doesn't it? It's predictable. So you're going to have to try to get a hold of your thinking and recognize, oh my gosh, there I go again. I'm such a 6. Look at me focusing on the negative. Look at me focusing on the potential problems. Look at me focusing. But what am I supposed to do, Tom? If I don't focus on that, then that's how they get you. You got to stay focused on it. You got to pay attention. You got to be protected. Well, the problem with all of these personality types is our strengths become our weakness. We overplay the strengths. And 80% of the time, that strength of forecasting and predicting and all that stuff, that works for you, so you start to trust it. But then it's not working for your marriage. It's not working for your relationships with your friends. It's working against them. It's actually ruining your life and other areas of your life. Catching that makes all the difference. Catching that is what maturity is. Look at it with a 7. It's not that you can't be a fool, right? 7s want to be fools a lot of times. We like being foolish. It's just maturity knows that this is not an appropriate time for me to act on those impulses. This is a time where we need to be thoughtful. We need to be, in control of ourselves. We need to be responsive. And we can't be an idiot right now because we're at a funeral or we're doing a baptism or whatever it is. You can't be a fool all the time. And maturity is knowing the difference. So look at that. A 7 has to control their impulses because it's not appropriate right now to just act on my compulsions. Same goes for every type. Sometimes it's not appropriate for you to over-focus on the problems or to worry about everything like you normally do. To catch yourself in that and go, gosh, I'm such a 6. I'm literally at a Christmas party with my family. Everything's fine. And look at me, over-focused on what's going on in the politics right now. Why do I need to worry about that? How is that improving my life? What is that reaching for me? What is that accomplishing for me? Is it very strategic right now for me to over-focus on all of this? What if I could just let it go for a minute? You would immediately look like a 9. Can you see that? If you could just get in control of your thinking a little bit, lean into 7, more positive, lean into 5, more analytical and objective, you would immediately start to look more like a 9, more at peace, more like everything's fine, everything's okay, I don't need to worry about anything. Wouldn't that be great? Okay, so at my worst, 6s are suspicious. Why did he say it like that? What do you think he means by that? Suspicion can turn people against you. You're suspicious because you don't want to turn people against you, but your suspicion itself will turn people against you. So, see, it's not working for you all the time. And let me just say this. Sometimes as 6s, we all can do this, but you guys especially do this. Sometimes your goal is you're delaying a decision, or you're struggling with a decision, or you feel very apprehensive or indecisive about a decision that you have to make because you don't want to do the wrong thing and get stuck with consequences that are going to be painful and challenging and difficult to live with. So let me say it like this. Sometimes in order to avoid pain and negativity and doing the wrong thing and, in order to avoid potential anxiety, fear, and consequences, you live in constant state of anxiety, fear, pain, consequences. So in order to avoid that, to protect yourself from that, like, what if I do the wrong thing? Then I'll have to live with it. It'll be overwhelming. So let me just live in overwhelming panic right now. It doesn't make any sense if you think about it. I'm trying to protect myself from, I don't want to marry the wrong person, because if I married the wrong person, then I'd be stuck in anxiety, fear, and pain. So let me just be stuck in this decision in anxiety, fear, and pain, trying to make a decision of whether it's the right thing to marry this person. Look at you trying to avoid anxiety by using anxiety. Doesn't make sense, but you do it, and you need to see this stuff. And once you see it, maybe you can change the way you think and move your mind somewhere else and be more present to your life, not the potential life that could go wrong if I don't make this decision right. What, you're going to have anxiety, pain, and fear? You have anxiety, pain, and fear now. And let me just say an encouraging word. Don't underestimate yourself. You've been backed into a corner before. You guys are fighters. You are also called the guardians and the troopers. You guys are the motorcycle gang. You are warriors. You are. I mean, when your constant sin, all your life is fear, you learn to be courageous. And you know as well as I do that when you're backed into a corner and you have no options and you have no support and you have nobody left on your team, it's amazing what you can accomplish in those darkest hours. Don't underestimate yourself. Do not let fear conquer you. Do not let fear overwhelm you or overtake you. It's amazing what you can do when you are backed into a corner and you've got nobody on your side, nobody, your worst fear, no support, no guidance, no assurance, and it's just you and your enemy. It's amazing what you can do in those situations. You've done it before, and don't underestimate yourself. Tell yourself something like this: I am capable, and I know I can handle tough situations no matter what comes at me. So why am I going to worry about this? Why am I going to worry about this? Because it's not going to happen to me. It's not going to happen to me, and if it does, I'm able to handle it. I can take care of it. And I've got support, but even if my support doesn't show up, I'm fine without it. I can manage, I can handle this. You see, as soon as you do that, you're going to look more like a 9. It's fine. Whatever. I ain't worried about it. Okay. Suspicion, controlling, inflexible, sarcastic. They either withdraw to put on a tough act. They either withdraw or put on a tough act when threatened. There's that fight or flight thing. Now, I wrote down a couple of other things that just weren't on here that I thought were important. I don't remember what I wrote down. Now, let me look at it. Be dependable and follow through on your commitments. If you're relating to a 6, then you have to be a dependable person because you never lie to a 6. Never betray a 6, never lie to a 6. So even if it's bad news, you got to be dependable. You got to be reliable. You got to mean what you say. You got to, like a 4, be authentic. You can't be disingenuous, because if you're not sincere and you're disingenuous and you don't really mean what you say, then how can you be the kind of person I need in my life? Why would I want to be friends with you? You don't mean what you say. So make sure you let them know, I'm in your corner. I'm here with you. You're not alone in this. You know, I heard once that 1s have an inner critic and 6s have an inner committee. Does that make sense? I'm not sure I think about that. What do you think? That inner committee where you're analyzing and evaluating everything, trying to resolve your problem. Why is it a problem? Why do you have to frame it as a problem? Maybe your problem you're facing right now is just an opportunity. The difference between fear and excitement is very minimal. It's just a little bit of positivity. Just sprinkle a little positivity dust on your fear, and maybe it could feel more like excitement. Maybe your problem could feel like an opportunity. Maybe it could feel like a chance for you to do something new, or to prove yourself in some way, or to stand on your own 2 feet. So much of life is our mindset. It's the way we frame things in our mind. A little more positivity, perhaps, would be good for you. I don't know why sometimes I just want to speak like a leprechaun. You'll be moving along now and you won't be speaking like a leprechaun. Invite them into the planning process. Yeah, 6s don't usually like surprises. So if you're planning something, like maybe you're going to plan a trip with your family at Christmas, you're thinking about, let's go to Gatlinburg. We're going to go to Gatlinburg, Tennessee. Bring them into the planning of it, because 6s, they don't want to be surprised. They want to process through from starting point to ending point. So let them walk through that planning process with you. Or you're going to regret it, because when you reveal the plan, hey, surprise, surprise, we're going to Gatlinburg. They're going to have 15 reasons why this might not work. Well, why are we going now? I don't understand. This is not the best peak. This is peak season. It's going to be too crowded. We're not going to be able to get a hotel room. We're not going to be able. So you might as well just bring them into the planning session to begin with. Explore their concerns with them. Let me worry in peace and don't show any judgment. Offer stability. Don't take their questioning personally. That's a big one right there. When they say, how long did you know about this? What, are you insinuating? Are you insinuating that I did something wrong? My apples aren't what they ought to be? Are you insinuating? And then you take it all personal when they're just asking questions. Realize they are the investigative reporter, and they're asking questions to try to figure out how to navigate through whatever it is you came up with. They're not necessarily against it. They just got to ask their questions. Why are you questioning me? I'm a bastion of integrity and dignity, and you're questioning me? How dare you? First of all, how dare you? It's not going to go well, so don't react too much to their questioning. Recognize they do this to everybody. They're literally an investigator. I know the 5 is called the investigator. I like the observer a little better for a 5, and 6 definitely, 6-wing 5 especially, investigator. When did you know this? How come you didn't tell me? How long have you known about this? Let me see your phone. Let me see your phone. Did you text? When did you text? How come I didn't get that text? Mean what you say, respect my concerns, to need a plan, avoid sudden changes, and erratic behavior. This whole video has been erratic behavior. I'm not very good at what I do. I'm literally telling you how to get along with a 6, making a video in such a way that makes it difficult for a 6 to pay attention. Don't betray me, appreciate their loyalty. You know, whether it's to their church, their doctor, their mechanic, or even the store they shop at. We got to go to Winn-Dixie. Winn-Dixie's going out of business, you know, and they have buy one, get one free. And if somebody doesn't shop there, they're going to go out of business. And we got to go to Winn-Dixie, even though it costs more and is ugly and stuck in the 80s. Don't take their questioning person, offer stability. Okay, I think I finished. I think that's everything. Well, hopefully something in there was helpful. Like, subscribe, check out this playlist. If you want to keep learning more, check out this video I'm recommended to you. And as always, be present to life. I'm here for you. I'm in your corner. You and I are friends. We're going to make it through this together. I'm on your team, 100% on your team. All right, take care, guys. I'll see you next time. Have a great Christmas. Bye.